Jon turned out to be Jesus, and Cersei channeled Carrie on her prom night, and Sansa made dog food out of Ramsay.
Sure.
I became a serial killer. And Daenerys is finally on a fucking boat.
Yes. So much shit went down.
Yeah.
Oh, we need to talk about Game of Thrones.
Absolutely. And let's talk about the final 2 episodes, because the season's been kind of wobbly, but like...
Strong finish.
Yeah, pure Game of Thrones magic. I mean, that fucking opening sequence of the finale with Cersei just fucking shit up. I mean, it was so masterfully done, because it was so tense, and like the build up was amazing with like Margaery knowing that something was up and Tommen knowing that something was up.
Yeah. That crawl towards the candle, and it's like, you're not gonna make it.
And that score. I mean, the score elevated the entire thing with that piano was just like kudos to the composer, because that was just amazing.
If we could get that director and that score, or like that level of production value on every episode, that sure. Great. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yes, please.
Yeah, like this kind of like elegant, calculated plot, even though it was kind of fucked up and Cersei fucked herself, it's thrilling to watch.
Yeah, but no, I mean, it worked. Like, it was a clean-cut strategy. You know, it's very, very coordinated effort, which was great, because like in episode 9 we had Jon basically fucking everyone over when he decided that he'd charge an army on his own. But then that also evolved into like the greatest battle scene ever. Holy shit, that was full on.
Yeah,
it was very bloody, very visceral, very claustrophobic. And
that scene with Jon under all of the other soldiers.
But very, sort of, again, beautifully sort of choreographed.
Yeah.
Like, it was just, it worked, man.
Yeah.
Damn, they must have spent a lot of time, a lot of money.
Yeah, true. I mean, the CGI is definitely better in this season. I mean, they really upped the budget on the dragons as well. And they look so real that I kind of want one. But, you know...
Well, I mean, that could be a little tricky.
Yeah, true. My flat is not big enough.
That is the one reason, yeah.
You know, the fire breathing might be an issue as well, but you know... I could do with the Davos. Like, I could settle for a Davos.
You'd have them tucked away in your closet for a while.
Yeah. True.
God,
I mean,
such a nice guy.
Like, just have Davos be encouraging every once in a while, because like he's one of the few characters in Game of Thrones like who's actually motivated by doing good.
Moving on from good guy Davos, not everyone is so noble in their motivations. For me, Jaime is one of really, really interesting characters, because even though he's not like a main player and he's not vying for the throne, he has a lot of interesting developments and twists and turns. Unfortunately, what we were talking about before the season began was that he'd sort of backtracked into just this guy who would do whatever for his beloved Cersei. But now I feel like he's back on track.
Yeah.
He's had a few blowbacks, and he's had a little bit of time for self-reflection, especially when he was dining with Walder Frey, and he was hey, you and I, we're the same, right? And he was like, oh shit, really?
Yeah. That look of barely restrained disgust on Jaime's face was really, really great.
And then returning to see that she has become exactly what he fought against.
Yeah.
The mad ruler, everything that he is opposed of. And I shit you not, if like all of the love in his heart has not turned to cold, cold stone, then I don't know what we're gonna do with him. But I'm very excited to see him turn against her.
Love died. that look that they exchanged towards the end.
Trail.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, like, speaking of fucked up situations, Jon was not fucked up enough.
I know, there was no zombie Jon.
No, I know, I mean, like, I don't know if I was hoping for zombie Jon, but, you know, kind of...
Frankenstein Jon?
No. I mean, it's just like, you know, you had Beric Dondarrion saying, like, when I come back, I am less, you know, I had kind of looked forward to seeing them work a bit more on Jon's kind of death depression.
Yeah, he had that like witless, smoldering thing going on for about an episode.
Yeah.
And then Sansa turned up and he was like, yeah, alright, I'll fight for you.
Yeah.
And then he goes all in. Like, it's not like, okay, I'll tag along. Like,
yeah. Like, he went all in, and then, like, goes for King in the North, even though he's been saying, like, Sansa...
I know, what was that?
Like, Sansa is the Lady of Winterfell, Sansa should be...
Yes, that
like,
is your moment to speak up and be like, I'm very happy that you stand behind me and that you pledged your swords. Pledge them to her.
Yeah, exactly.
Ooh.
I mean, that was kind of what he'd been saying the entire time. You have the whole triangle power play going on between Sansa, Jon, and Littlefinger. I feel like they're setting it up in some kind of way, but I'm not quite sure how.
I feel like that glare at the end of the episode was pretty... Like, I don't know if that's what's gonna happen, but to me, it seemed like there was still some jealousy in there. There was a little bit of maybe hungering for some power, and I feel like Littlefinger is still sufficiently manipulative that he could maybe turn the two against each other somehow.
Yeah.
A little bit. I don't know. We'll see where it goes. You're not really thinking that it was directed towards Jon, though, are you?
No, I can definitely see it going in that direction,
Yeah.
but I think like I don't hope that that's the direction they're going with it, because I feel like that would be kind of not as interesting as seeing her battle Littlefinger. I mean, like, she definitely does not want to be Littlefinger's queen, and like Littlefinger has made his intention towards her quite clear, you know?
Ridiculous though as well.
Oh.
Like, it wasn't even like I'll stand behind you, baby. It was
No.
like, no, I'm gonna be on the throne.
Yeah.
And you gonna be my arm candy.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
really? You think she's gonna go for that? No.
No, and like
You sold her to fucking Ramsay, man.
Yeah. Like, Littlefinger is just the ultimate fuckboy. Just like, go away. It's so ew. Like, I hate it. I hate it whenever he's near her. But then at the same time, that is kind of the fuel that I want to have going, because I felt the glance that they exchanged towards the end could definitely be interpreted as her being jealous of Jon, but I felt that it could also be kind of like setting the conflict between Sansa and Littlefinger up, because she realizes, oh, this is not good, because Littlefinger does not want this to happen. I mean, like,
True.
that is not part of his play, so...
I think it would work well if Littlefinger ended up being a catalyst for Sansa's development as well, and like for her to make more overtly strategic choices. Because now we don't have Margaery to do that for us.
Yeah.
Which was, oh man, I really wanted to see what her end game was.
Yeah.
Like, she was obviously setting the Sparrows up for something. She was setting Tommen up for something, and like I was just waiting for that big coup at the end of it all, where she goes, "Haha."
Yeah.
But nope, she died.
Yeah, but
Okay.
I was really gutted with that, because I love Margaery as a character, but
Super cool.
and it kind of marked the first time that we've seen like a big, like, well, there was Tywin, but you know, it's like getting the really proficient players knocked off happens really rarely in Game of Thrones. I mean, like, have big players like Stannis or Robb getting killed off, but
yeah, but they're the big sort of figureheads that don't really know what to do.
Yeah.
And this time it was like somebody who's properly in it to win it.
Yeah, I mean,
And then-
Margaery was the best player of the game, like,
Yeah.
apart from Varys or Littlefinger, I feel.
Yeah. It was a genuinely surprising move.
Yeah. Margaery also kind of marks one of the few big surprises this season. I mean, the season has been kind of predictable in a way. Like, we're hurtling towards something that feels, oh, we kind of know what's coming. I mean, like, Margaery and Hodor has been like the two big shots for me this season.
And then even though we have seen like the one that we've just sort of termed the greatest of the show ever, but we knew it was coming, and we knew that Cersei would go for the wildfire, because there had been so many indications of it.
Yeah.
And we also knew that Tommen would inevitably have to die so that she could make her way to the throne.
Yeah. And of course, Daenerys would conquer the Dothraki. That was never even a question, you know?
No. We also knew that Ramsay was gonna die.
Yeah,
I mean, he had to. He didn't really have anywhere to go.
Yeah, true. Knew Arya wasn't gonna die as
Nope.
well. Like, even being gut stabbed, you know, like, Arya's not gonna die.
But it was okay. Like, like a lot of these things were oddly satisfying because you knew that they were on their way to something finally. So it was fine that it wasn't crazy, but it also kind of feels like now they're all very set in their paths.
Yeah.
And that we as viewers are a lot more aware of these certain character types and like, okay, well, this is how she's gonna act, and that's him being a good guy, and like there's not a whole lot of mystery left.
And that was the same thing with kind of, the reason I knew that Jon was not gonna die was because, like, R plus L equals J. I'd been waiting for that since I read the first book, just going like, oh shit, he's a Targaryen, of course he's a Targaryen.
Yeah. I didn't really get it. It didn't have that, like, whoa effect that it had for you.
Well, you did get like, oh, okay, when I told you like, oh, it's Rhaegar who is his dad, you know.
I mean, I logically understand that it's a big deal, but it wasn't like a big moment for me watching it in the show.
Yeah, not the big punch.
No. But I love that people who even see, like, who know what's coming, people that, like you who've read the book, and just people who are a little, you know, clever, and who can see some of these predictable plot turns coming. It just goes to show that if it's directed well enough, and if it's scripted well, and if it's scored well, then it's genuinely engaging for us to watch, and then it's okay that there isn't like a big mindfuck every time, you know?
Yeah, I feel like they've kind of shot themselves in the foot. I mean, like, people have talked about this before, like, this has become, like, the big thing with Game of Thrones, that it's like, oh, it has to be, like, super shocking, we have to have a lot of characters die off. And yeah, that is definitely a part of it, you know, like, the casualties of war, the casualties of power play, but I also feel like it has become, like, mandatory for the show in a way, that they have to deliver these big shock moments, and then they focus on them too much instead of, you know, making it more about the journey instead of the payoff, you know. So that's how I feel like, yeah, even though we might know where they're heading, I feel like if they make the journey engaging enough instead of just focusing on the big shock moment, on the big payoff, that it could become something really interesting and really engaging as well, because the big strength of Game of Thrones is the characters.
Exactly. And I like that the fact that we know that they're all heading sort of in the same direction now and they're about to converge, that's pretty cool. Like, we're gonna get some interesting new alliances and power dynamics. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, for sure. The threats are starting to come together, and I hope that that's maybe gonna be able to fix some of the pacing problems we've been talking about. Hopefully. I mean, you have like season 5 was just weird in terms of pacing, and then you have season 6 was kind of wobbly, but improved. A lot of it has had to do with the characters being stretched too thin, you know. And one of the things that was a big thing was the displaced timelines.
That had everybody going crazy. And everyone else going crazy. This is the first thing we said. We were like, but how? I thought you could not figure out the geography of Westeros all of a sudden, because you're like, how has it taken these people a full season to get to one place, and then all of a sudden in like a heartbeat, Varys is on a boat with Daenerys when he's just pissed off to Dorne. But, you know, apparently, according to the showrunners, that's because not everything is happening simultaneously. Not everything is happening as we would imagine it to be unfolding, which is even more confusing for a show that has so many moving parts. So, yeah, hopefully now that there are about half as many characters as there usually are, and they're all kind of going towards the same place, it'll be a little bit more structured, a little bit more focused.
Yeah, I mean, I've like, one of the big hopes that I've had, I've been talking a lot about it in terms of more character interactions. I feel like the world of Westeros and world of Essos just needs to feel more lived in again. I feel absolutely. A lot of like the last 2 seasons especially has been very much like all the world's a stage and all the people merely players kind of vibe going on.
Yeah.
Just one big set piece after another, so we don't get like those quiet character moments where they actually interact with each other and not just having conversations that like drives a plot forward, but just that are about character and about like knowing the characters and spending some time with them, because like we like them and we have invested like 6 years in them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then, like, we get that it's a war zone. You don't need to like go out to brunch or anything. Just like, just like a 20-second walk through camp or something to show a little bit more. I don't know, but like just something that isn't like in the highlights reel.
Breathing room. Yeah, because this season has just kind of felt like a rush towards the finish line, you know?
Yeah, there have been a lot of, like, you know what surprised me probably the most this season was Arya, like, who's been training for ages and ages and ages and isn't very good at completing her training.
No, she's
or
not.
following orders or doing anything that she's being told to do. Decides to say, all right, screw it all. I'm not even gonna try. I am Arya Stark, and I'm going back to my homeland. But in the meantime, give me about an episode and a half, and then I will be the master of the transforming faces, and I'll be back in Westeros, and I'll be killing off my enemies. And it's like, wow, okay, that happened quickly.
Yeah, but at the same time, it didn't really inform her character in a way. But like, she was doing too much of the same shit all the time. She was just like training and being blind, and you know, I felt like it had been.
Oh, that old chestnut! You're blind again.
No, I only mean that, you know, having Arya actually fulfilling one of the orders from the Faceless Men.
That would have been nice.
And bringing some conflict into that character arc, instead of just going like, oh, I am really bad at following orders. Oh, wait, I didn't follow orders again. Oh, sorry, I messed up again.
Oh, well.
Yeah. And also because that doesn't make sense in a way that then she's so proficient.
Exactly. How is she, like, master assassin?
Yeah.
All of a sudden.
They skipped that part.
Yeah. You know what else they skipped? They skipped they pressed the fast forward button on Daenerys' story in a way that is unfreaking believable, because you've had 5 seasons of her like dilly-dallying in Slaver's Bay.
Yeah.
And after revolt after revolt after revolt, after trouble after trouble, after kidnapping, after attempted assassination, like one trip with her dragons, and they're like, no, it's sorted now. Oh look, we have boats. Oh look, we have an army. Oh look, we're on our way. Like, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I felt like
that was a sudden move.
Yeah, I mean, like, everyone hated the scenes in Marine because they felt like they were not going anywhere, but just having her do the exact same shit like she's been doing for all of Tyrion's, picking it up to be something different. It was basically the same thing she'd been doing.
Slavery is still bad. I will still kill you if you try to slave people.
Yeah, so that's probably, sure, that's gonna work. It's not like it hasn't been working before, but this time it's definitely gonna be solid, yeah.
I mean, whatever though. Again, it's one of those like we can't complain too much because it's what we've been waiting for so long, and like we just want her to get on a boat, but it felt very rushed. It was strange.
I mean, but you know, Cersei, she burned the chessboard and pressed reset, so like everything is lined up for the next big the third act, the conflict. So
absolutely.
I'm hoping that that's gonna make some sense of the pacing and the character development in the last 2 seasons.
For sure. And I feel like season 7 doesn't have any excuse to be shit now.
No,
because they've shown that they can craft some amazing episodes, and that when they actually spend time, like when they spend a half hour in King's Landing, and when they spend a half hour on the battlefield, and when they sort of evolve these stories organically and don't just jump from place to place, like that's when viewers are like, whoa, shit.
Yeah.
This is why we watch Game of Thrones, and everyone does. Everyone watches Game of Thrones, and I feel like they've been given too much leeway because it was Game of Thrones, it was like, well, that episode was shit, but we'll watch it anyways.
Yeah.
And now they need to prove themselves and be like, we're gonna watch it because it's fucking amazing.
Yeah. Season 7, I'm psyched for it. I'm psyched for it. So,
and I'm still the more cynical one of us. I'm cautiously optimistic, I would say.
Yeah. I think I probably am. I'm just feeling very hopeful now because the last 2 episodes was so fucking amazing.
Yeah.
So,
keep it up.
Keep it up. Till next time. See you next year.
Bye.
Bye.